All right, you live.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of League of Our Own. It's the Sports Chica, Carolina Teague in the building. I just wanted to say hello to every single one of you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in all over YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We're gonna have a fun episode today. If you, we're gonna be talking about a lot of things. We're gonna be talking about the Texans, C.J. Stroud having incredible games back to back. We're also talking about Michigan and their sign stealing and Terence Crawford losing his IBF title. But of course, we have Gylan in the building today. Gylan is the guy who has actually made my lighting look really good today. It looks great. I'm like so proud of like all the production he's been doing. And we're gonna introduce you guys to Jaden, the intern today. Real quick though, if you guys have noticed, my voice is kind of out of whack. I was at River City Wrestling this past weekend and Reality of Wrestling in Houston, both incredible productions. My goodness. I mean, when I look at the landscape of wrestling in the state of Texas, Reality of Wrestling is top tier, elite type of wrestling. And River City Wrestling, they had an incredible show last night. The Von Erichs from the legendary Von Erich family fought in the main contest, and when I tell you the energy literally was shut down, it was incredible. And I had an incredible experience this weekend. But before my wrestling event on Sunday, I woke up and I didn't have a voice. So for somebody who doesn't have a voice, that's a ring announcer's nightmare. I was drinking hot tea throughout the whole day, and now I'm here at the podcast studio trying to take it, a little bit easy. So I got Gylan here to help me. What's up, Gylan?
Sup?
And I got Jaden, the intern. He's gonna be here talking a little bit of sports with us. So
Jaden, can you tap in real quick?
we'll see Jaden. Oh yeah, are we gonna introduce us to Jaden?
Hold on, go ahead. Hold on, why am I not getting Jaden in my
I got
headset?
I got Jaden. I got Jaden.
You got Jaden?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got Jaden. Yeah. Okay. So is that his voice? Are we gonna see Jaden today?
Yeah, we'll see him in a second.
Okay, we'll see Jaden. Okay, cool, cool. Okay, so let's get started on the Texans. I feel like Gylan is really high on the Texans right now, especially because the way that C.J. Stroud has been playing after his last game where he had that dramatic finish, final game winning drive, an incredible game. He comes back this week and they have another incredible game. He passed for 356 yards and he rushed and passed for a score. And Devin Singletary had a career high 150 yards rushing at a score. And they defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 30-27. And there was 10 seconds left in the first half, and their kicker hit 3 field goals for the day. Houston put up a 45-yarder for 10-7 at the break, and things just kept going down. Then he has this final drive that puts the Texans in a position to win. And that's all great. C.J. Stroud is having a great game. Their kicker, Amendola, kicked a 45-yard field goal. And just had an incredible game. So the last one he drive was great. But what's really great is one of the largest payouts on a parlay bet ever reported in a U.S. sports book came to the final seconds of that game when he drive.
So Carolina, what is a parlay bet?
So that's a great question. A parlay bet is where you bet multiple games to win, and the payout is a lot more. So let's say tonight let's say the Spurs play the Rockets tonight, right? And I bet for the Spurs to win. And I bet $50. And if the Spurs win, I win $58. I win $8 back. However, if the Spurs play the Rockets, if the Warriors play the Wizards, if the Nets play the Celtics, and I can bet on all three and merge those 3 games together. So if I bet that the Celtics are going to win, plus the Spurs are going to win, plus the Warriors are going to win, and they all 3 win, and I only bet $50, instead of getting $8 back because 3 of my teams won, I'm going to get $150 back. So that's why a lot of people do parlays, because it allows them to earn more money by
Or
gambling
whatever
on
the
more
parlay
games.
bet is.
Exactly, correct. So it's easier to just parlay So if you want to make more money, it's riskier to take a parlay because not all of those teams might win or the over and under might not hit, but you will get a bigger payout. So a bettor in Florida won 5.5 million on a $500,000 four-leg NFL parlay. When
But he had to bet
he had to bet 500,000, which I was going to talk about that. But there was four legs in the parlay. He bet on the Texans to beat the Bengals, the Texans and the Bengals to go over 44 and a half points. Texans running backs Devin Singletary had to score a touchdown, and Singletary had to score over 51.5 rushing yards. So he bet on all four things together, and he won $5.5 million. That is a lot of money. So I wanted to ask you guys, and I wanted to ask Jaden and Gylan and all you guys watching, if you all won $5.5 million on a parlay, what would you do with that money?
That's a good question.
What would you do with $5.5 million, Gylan? Would you
Jaden, what would you do with $5.5 million?
All right, the first thing I do with 5.5, you said 5.5, right?
Yes.
I'll first, break off everybody in my family, give people in my family who need that money, and then I get a nice camera and every camera equipment I need to start my own business. So that's what I would do.
And that's it? You wouldn't do anything else? Like you wouldn't, I don't know, go on a vacation? Would you re-bet again some more parlays?
Would you bet more money, or would you go on a vacation or anything?
Oh, yeah, nah, for sure. If I got some left over, I wouldn't. I would just invest the rest, actually.
What would you invest it into?
What would you invest it into?
Just real estate. I get like a advisor or someone who knew something about like the stock market.
Exactly. Smart move.
That's smart. Yeah. That's smart. And how old are you, Jaden?
19.
Okay. So, and you're an intern here at Vodpop Media. So what do you go to school for?
What are you going to school for?
I'm going to school for digital video and cinematography. So I'm going to be making movies in the long run.
Oh, good. Okay, so you are a smart man. It seems like you have a good head on your shoulders, because you know what you would do with 5.5 million. Now, let me ask you this, Jaden. Would you be as risky as this bettor was and make a huge bet like that?
Would you bet 500,000?
Man, if I had it like that, I would. But if I couldn't afford to like lose the money, I'll probably win it. But if I had it though like that, I would.
Okay. And so, final question, Jaden. If you had to gamble and all or nothing, would you gamble your 5.5 million away? If somebody said, hey, you won the 5 million, but you got to do another bet, would you do that, or would you walk away?
Would you bet another 5 or no?
Yeah, would you put the 5.5 million? Yeah, would you put that up so you could possibly win 50 million the next time?
Rather than a 5?
Yeah, would you walk away from the 5 million to win 50 million?
You know what, life's all about taking risks, so I'll just do it. Just do it.
So one of the interesting things that nobody ever talks about is some of these parlays will give the option to buy out of the parlay. So one was like a $1.5 or $2 million parlay, and at every leg that he won, the parlay was like, "Yo, you can take $1 million, or you could take 20,000, or take 500,000." Not this particular guy, but another guy took it and let it ride, and he won in like 2.2 million.
That's interesting.
Because he let it ride.
See, I didn't know that they did that because I gamble on Bovada. Bovada. It's called Bovada.lv. And as you're winning, it doesn't allow you that buyout option. Like you're able to buy out right now. So I guess because he was at the Hard Rock, maybe he had that option. But that's really tricky.
I mean, I don't know if that guy had it, but I'm just saying, like, in general.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, the sports books that I'm a part of, like, you don't have that option. But let's just say you did, right? And as you see your parlay hitting each tier, like, you could either take it now or get nothing out of it. That would be hard to determine. Like, would I be conservative and drop out, or would I continue to go? And luckily he did, and he won that $5.5 million, which is insane. And it's just crazy how much people are willing to gamble. But I wonder how much also did he lose too. It's a great thing that he won 5.5 million. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, but if he's dropping 500,000, then he's lost maybe $1 million, $2 million at a time.
That's what I'm thinking too. I wonder how much. What are his losses too? But
yeah, he's not. It's kind of like us losing $500. You know what I'm saying? Like him losing 500 is like us losing 5.
Right.
So let me say this. The old man from Houston. You mean Mattress Mac?
Yes, Mattress Mac. He's a huge gambler.
Yeah, he wins and loses a bunch.
Yeah.
Let me think here. What would I do? I would take the 5 million. I take 500,000, blow it away, and I take the 4.5 million, move to Costa Rica, and live my life out.
That's a good for 5. That's a good one. Would you move your family out there too?
What family? I'm cutting
Like
everybody
your-
off.
like
I'm
your-
changing my number and everything. Well, family? What family? What family you talking about? Shit.
Like not even your mom or dad. You wouldn't like.
Who got a mama? What mama? What daddy?
Oh
Nah, I'm
my
done.
God. If
Like seriously, like it's over.
why is it? Because you don't like nobody, or like what?
No, I like them and stuff, but you know, I mean, they could come visit and shit.
Yeah. So yeah, would you be afraid they would try to like use you for your money?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not my parents.
So then why would you bring them along for the ride?
Like and live with me?
No, well, like
They could come
you
visit.
wouldn't buy them a house, like nothing like that.
Huh?
You wouldn't buy your mom and dad a house, like they're not gonna leech off of you, like you said.
I don't know.
I would. I feel like for me, if I won 5.5 million off of a Texas bet, first of all, I pat myself on the back really hard. I put that $500,000 away to bet on another bet too, like maybe another parlay, and see if I strike gold twice. Or I would probably divide that $500,000 in my little gambling budget, and maybe get $100,000 mini parlays, about 5 of them. And then after that, I would probably just buy a nice conservative house for like $350,000 or less. And then after that, I would just like retire and take vacations for the rest of my life.
Yeah, be done.
Yeah, I'd be done. I think I could. A lot of people will blow through 5.5 million, but I don't think I would. I think I would like legit maybe buy my parents a house and myself a house and just leave it at that. And just go on vacation for the rest of my life. Like I would be in Japan like right now.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm saying, like, would y'all do that? Like, I feel like it sucks because, like, I always see these stories about parlays and people hitting them. Like, a man bet $5,000 and he ended up winning $150,000. I'm like, why the hell can't I hit a parlay like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and I wonder, like, I always want to ask these people, like, what research are you doing to come up with these parlays that hit big? Like, I really think we should probably bring somebody on this show who has won a massive parlay, and that's actually not a bad idea, and ask them, like, how do you determine who you're going to select for your parlay? So maybe that could give people who are watching an opportunity to win a parlay like this. Like, I'm going to see if I could get somebody on that's won a big parlay. I think that's a goal that we should have.
Like who would you get?
I don't know. I have to do my research on who's won big parlays, because some people go public with their names. I can hit them up and say, hey, I want to interview you for the League of Our Own podcast. I got people who watch the show, and we want to know how you structured your parlay so you could win big money. Like, how did you know that Singletary was going to hit 45 and a half yards?
I don't know if they can structure the parlay that way. I think from what I understand is that the parlay is structured that way. So they pick from a certain piece, right? Because you couldn't pick, I don't think you could pick who's the sorriest football team right now, where the Jets would lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't pick all the easy shit to get to 5 million.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to pick strategic things. Like, a lot of people that hit these parlays, they do their research. Like, okay, so-and-so is out of the game today. So that's why I predict for Singletary to have that 45 and a half yards. I predict him to get a first score touchdown. I predict for the Texans to beat the Bengals because of this reason. So I want to know what is like going through their mind for them to like make these smart decisions when it comes to sports gambling in particular. I feel like too when it comes to like gambling, football is actually pretty easy to gamble on for me. Um, Baseball, I'm not good at. Uh, Basketball is very impulsive. I feel like it's a hit or miss when it comes to basketball parlays. So I feel like I've had the most luck with hitting football parlays more than anything. So have you?
Hey, Jaden, have you ever bet on anything?
Nah, not yet.
Yeah, and I've never bet on anything either.
Okay, so I have bet before.
I mean, I played numbers and stuff like that, but not like real.
I predicted for the Bears to win the division when they were supposed to be bottom ranked a couple years back, and I only put up like $30. And the end of the season, I won $300.
I remember that.
Yeah. because I was like, okay, like I have a feeling that they're gonna win the division. And then also like I've had I'm not really great with parlays, but I am good with like hitting certain things. Like one time I predicted Daniel Jones to throw over 75 yards passing, and he hit that. So or I'm sorry, rushing 75 yards because he's not a rusher, he's a quarterback. He rushed 75 yards that day. He was scrambling and hit that 75. Then I ended up winning money. So it's just like how you predict certain things. It's easy to predict certain things to happen. Like, oh, and I've also bet on the Super Bowl what color Gatorade is going to come out of the Gatorade. And I ended up winning some money off of that. I predicted that the Rams were going to win the Super Bowl, and the color was going to be blue or something like that, because I was like, well, it's blue Gatorade because the Rams have the blue color in their jersey. So I just picked blue, and blue ended up coming out the Gatorade. So I ended up winning. So just little things like that, making those smart decisions is tough, and especially during a parlay.
Is it really a smart decision, or is it pure luck?
I mean, it's a combination of both. Like, I feel like you have to do your homework. Like that guy who hit the $500,000, 5.5 million parlay, I think he did his homework.
No, but he did his homework because if he wouldn't hit that field goal, it's complete luck.
Well, it's luck plus homework too. Like I feel like
so.
Like when it's like specifics, like Singletary to go over 51.5 rushing yards, and for him to score a touchdown throughout the game, and for them to go over 45.5 points, I feel like that's like there's a science to it where you kind of predict that stuff. But then there's also luck involved too, because something can happen, an injury can occur. It's a whole bunch of things, but I just want to be one of those people that hit a big parlay one day.
Well, it'll happen if you do it.
I agree. So
playoff bound.
Yeah.
Are the Cowboys more or less playoff ball than Texans?
Okay, so C.J. Stroud is ranked the 12th best quarterback in the NFL after this week, after he had, after week 10, actually, after he had a 470-yard passing game. And they have a 29% chance of winning the AFC South and a 53% chance of making it to the playoffs. So the odds for them aren't that great, but I was looking at their upcoming schedule, and their schedule looks pretty easy, pretty simplified. They're coming up against the Cardinals, they're going up against the Jaguars coming up, the Broncos, the Jets, the Titans, the Browns, and the Colts. So it's not necessarily the toughest upcoming games in the next couple of weeks. So the way CJ Stroud has been playing and coming up with these last minute drives, to me it seems like he's that type of person who could get these last minute wins. He's really breaking out of his shell right now. So I mean, their upside looks really, really good. Now the Cowboys are still in the playoff picture, and they have a 17% chance of winning the NFC East and a 97% chance of making the playoffs. And Dak Prescott is ranked 4th in quarterback QBR, so they could make it to the playoffs. And I know I might sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it seems like the Cowboys somehow managed to have schedules and things fall into place for them, even if it's a wild card situation, to where they end up in the playoffs. And I feel like that has a lot to do with ratings, but I'm not going to sit here and go deep dive. So
that would make sense until Cowboys ain't done shit in how many years? And one game conspiracy theory to win a playoff game doesn't make any sense to me.
But also, too, like Ramon Mata said, and he has a really good point, the NFC is softer than the AFC. The AFC is way tougher than the NFC. So, yeah, Dallas has a better chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, overall, I think they have a better chance of making the playoffs. I'm not going to bet against the Texans right now or C.J. Stroud. He has looked in complete control.
Yeah.
The team is rallying around him. There's nobody complaining. Nobody complaining about the coach. Nobody complaining about the quarterback. The only team that has anybody complaining about anything is Dallas. And so that stuff can be infectious in the locker room. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and also they're not the only team where people have gripes about. There's other teams in the NFL where
they just loud in
frustrated.
Texas though.
I think it's just more vocal in Texas. People are more frustrated, but they're saying that C.J. Stroud is one of the best rookie quarterbacks ever, and I feel like there's a lot of truth in that. But overall, the better team and the team that has more opportunity is the Dallas Cowboys. And
I would like to see them go head to head right now.
I would too.
I'd love to see them go head to head right now.
I honestly would. And I know we're talking about imaginary scenarios, which we were talking about earlier, but I think right now, a Texans versus a Cowboys game would actually be really, really fun to watch.
I agree.
Because it's like they have this, like, apparently there's like a rivalry going on. And I always wondered about this whole, like, rivalry. Like, why does, and I know I might be going a little bit off topic, but people are trying to get the Cowboys versus the Texans to be a real rivalry. And if you're football purist like I am, your only real rivalry is teams in your division. However, people are trying to make the Cowboys and the Texans a huge thing, because Texas is its own state, in case you guys didn't realize.
Damn near its own country.
Yeah, and also, too, Cowboys fans outnumber Texans fans in the state of Texas, but Texans fans, they kind of go hard in the paint, too. They dominate their territory in Houston. And not only that, it would be great for the state of Texas, but also C.J. Stroud is having a breakout year. Dak has this kind of thing where, like Ramon Mata said on the live stream, where he's not clutch. So could a Cowboys team that's essentially, quote unquote, mediocre go up against a C.J. Stroud who's been having these great last minute drives? I think next week a Texans versus Cowboys game would have been really fun to watch.
Yeah, that'd be a great time. It's a battle for Texas too. It's a battle for Texas.
It wouldn't surprise me if they made that happen next year.
They should.
They should. And also, like, you were saying, like, it's a battle for Texas, but I always wondered about this, like, rivalry thing. Like, why do the Spurs fans hate the Rockets fans so much? Why do the Cowboys fans hate the Texans fans so much? And vice versa. Why do Mavericks fans hate Spurs fans? Why do Rockets fans hate Mavericks fans? Like, why is there this, like, rivalry with all these different cities in the state of Texas?
Why? It's Texas.
Yeah, but it's like they really hate each other. It's so weird to me.
Why?
Or like Astros fans hate Rangers fans.
I don't know if I don't hate anybody.
Like, they sound like these people hate. They hate them. They're not even in like the same division. And it's like, I feel like, to me, it's like an inferiority complex sometimes. It's like, if you know your team is great, you don't have to rah about how the team across is like a trash team.
Well, I don't know.
Like,
couldn't tell you.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, I could understand if it's in the same division, but it's just the same state. So why are you, like, talking all this shit?
Because it's a state rivalry. That's what matters. More than divisional rivalry. State rivalries are huge. Okay. Especially in college.
So Kat was saying Dak was 13-3 his rookie year. Now, do you attribute that, though, to Dak having a better offensive line than C.J. Stroud? Because C.J. Stroud entered this season with like unfortunate,
brand new team,
a brand new team, exactly, like
brand new coach, the whole 9 yards.
Right, exactly, and for Dak's breakout season, Tony Romo was just replaced, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he had Ezekiel Elliott on the team, and he had more star power on the team when he entered rather than C.J. Stroud with the Houston Texans. I feel like C.J. Stroud was in a more fucked up position.
Very much so.
Yeah, and he's still doing well with that. And Ramon Mata says, we hate them all because this is Texas. We're cocky. Yeah. That is true.
So, cheating, Michigan. If you're not cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're not cheating, you ain't trying. So what's up with this whole? I was looking at the rundown of the Michigan football team, and basically there was a staffer, Connor Stallions, resigned, and the NCAA is investigating because sign stealing.
Dude, right there in the circle.
Oh, you have a picture of him? Oh, great. Yeah, that guy in the circle. He was doing some shady stuff. He was basically sign stealing and going to certain games and trying to steal
with
their
the video
signs.
recorder,
With the
recording
camcorder.
them and coming back.
Right. Now, just to make this clear, sign stealing isn't illegal in college football. But sign stealing, like ahead of time or at the games, I guess it is, which I think is one of the same, but apparently it's not. So, Coach Harbaugh said that he had no awareness of what was going on.
He's saying he didn't even know the dude.
Do you think that that's a possibility, that he didn't even know?
He's right there in the picture.
Oh. Okay, so but what I'm saying is, like, what if he didn't know him? What if he was just standing behind him?
He knew him. He knew him. He knew him.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He knew him. Now, he may not known exactly what was going on, but he knew old boy.
They have a hearing at 9 p.m. Or, I'm sorry, Friday at 9 a.m. to discuss, like, everything that's going on. But it's weird to me because TCU also knew about this too. I don't know if you heard about that, Garland. That TCU,
no.
It was like not the best kept secret in the Big Ten. Like, people were aware that Michigan was sign stealing, but it hadn't been investigated or brought to the forefront or brought to the light. But now it is, and allegedly, I'm hearing that Coach Harbaugh was saying he doesn't even know who Connor Stallions was. But there were Venmo exchanges between Jim Harbaugh's brother and Coach Stallion. So what are these Venmo transactions towards if y'all didn't know each other?
So the question is, should he be suspended?
I think, isn't he already suspended?
Right. Should he have been suspended?
Yes.
Okay. And for me, I think yes. I'll pull Jaden on this one. Jaden, do you think he should be suspended? Cheating.
I'm gonna say yes.
And why is that?
Why is that?
Just because, like, I feel like it takes away for the game. Like, you know, if you're not better than someone, if you can't beat them fair and square, I mean, I might sound old school on this, but it just takes away for the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's true. It does take away from the game. I mean, look at the Astro situation. It took away from the game. The focus.
But did it really?
Yes, it did. It did.
I think there's a bunch of bitter fans.
What?
The whole Astros thing.
The other fans of other teams were bitter?
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Brady had something to say about this.
Of course, Tom Brady would. Inflate gate.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I mean, he's not even one to talk, right?
Exactly.
Right. So
speaking
I
of
guess
cheating and shady shit, what about this? Terence Crawford.
So Terence Crawford, oh shit. Terence Crawford, see, I think this is a bunch of bullshit too. He got stripped of his IBF belt. And what pisses me off about this is that he just beat Errol Spence and is one of the only undisputed fighters. And I don't know if I told you this, Guyland, but to be undisputed, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. That means you have all 4 belts. So in order to be, you can be a champion in boxing, right? For people who don't understand, you can be a champion in boxing. Like, let's say I'm a WBO champion, but there's 4 titles. There's the IBF, the WBA, the WBO, and the WBC. So I could get 4 belts in my weight division. And if I get all 4 belts, then I am officially undisputed. And undisputed is something that not that many people have. Errol Spence had the undisputed belts, and Terence Crawford did a systemic breakdown of him on that recent fight that they had in order to strip him of all those belts. Like, he beat him in the fight fair and square. He got to take all the belts. So now he's undisputed. Now it's getting stripped from him because
one belt,
his one belt, the IBF belt, is getting stripped from him because he was supposed to fight a mandatory Jaron Boots Ennis, who's also an incredible fighter, after he was elevated to interim champion. So they were required to fight against each other next. However, since Errol Spence exercised his rematch clause, because Terence Crawford and Errol Spence are going to fight again, so Errol Spence could get his belts back, the IBF made the decision to strip him of his belt because they didn't allow for him to begin negotiations with Boots Ennis to maybe possibly fight later down the line. Didn't even make that a whole situation. They just decided they decided that they don't recognize rematch clauses as an exception to the mandatory defense. So basically the IBF was saying, hey, look, we understand that you're going up against Errol Spence, but our organization doesn't recognize the fact that you have a rematch clause. So because you're required to fight Boots Ennis to keep our brand alive, we're going to take this title from you because you want to go rematch Errol Spence, which makes the sport of boxing stupid, shady and political.
But he's still undisputed. Like, whether you got the belt or not, you're still undisputed.
Well, no, period. I mean, not anymore, because he's no longer undisputed. He's
fuck the belt. Fuck the belt.
I mean, in your world, he's undisputed, but in
the real world,
in the boxing world, he is technically no longer
undisputed. Yeah, the boxing world is fucked.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's
so
fucked
everybody
up.
just needs to say he's undisputed. Fuck what the IBF thinks.
Okay, and that's great in the perfect world. But the reality is, like,
my world is perfect. Damn it.
But it's bullshit, because I don't feel like he should have been stripped of his belt. This is like some political dumb shit. And what pisses me off the most is that Terence Crawford, if you hear about his story, that man has worked so hard to get where he needs to be in boxing, and he's never got his just due as a boxer. Everybody,
but he did,
always,
though. Hold on,
he was always the underdog. No, he even said it himself. He was always the underdog. Everybody overlooked him. Nobody ever thought he was good enough. Nobody ever thought he was worthy enough to fight certain opponents. He had to really prove himself in the sport of boxing to get the fights that he finally wanted. He finally proves himself on the biggest stage, strips Errol Spence of his belts, and then some IBF bullshit, because they don't want to recognize a rematch clause, comes in the way. And now he's no longer considered undisputed, which is like the most prestigious thing you can have in boxing.
But you can never take that away from him. You can never take it away from it.
That is true.
Because he has it. He worked his way. He got it. You can't take it away from him.
You can't. You really can't. But at the end of the day, now that the rematch clause has been in effect and he's had his IBF belt stripped of him, if Errol Spence comes and beat him, then he only has 3 belts. Doesn't he have to refight for the IBF belt? He's only going to get 3 belts back, not 4.
True. Yeah.
So it's like, I'm rematching you because I want my 4 belts back. Oh, but you lost the belt because of a stupid ass clause. So even if he wins, he's going to get 3 belts back, not 4.
Welcome to boxing.
And it's shit like this, Kylan, where I know
people like me don't watch.
Why people like you don't watch. Exactly. That's the shit that pisses me off, and that's why the sport of boxing is quote unquote dying, because it pisses me off, because I love the sport of boxing, right? And I try to recruit my friends like Guylan to watch boxing. But when we hear about shit like this, and shit like where Keyshawn Davis can't fight because of a stupid marijuana, testing positive for marijuana by the Texas Boxing Commission, people have to wait 6 months to watch that fight. And then Terence Crawford, one of the best, if not the best. He's undisputed, for God's sakes. The best of the best. Can't even hold on to a belt because the IBF will recognize a rematch clause. How can I convince my friend Guyland to watch boxing
religiously, to watch it all the time and to care about it?
Exactly.
Because I watch UFC.
Right. Because of bullshit like this. That's why people don't watch the sport and invest into the game and buy the pay-per-views and watch these fights because of bullshit like this. And now, how are you going to get more fans into the sport of boxing? How can I convince my UFC friends to continue to believe in this sport?
You really can't. Because UFC is really become bigger than boxing. Boxing's too fucking complicated. You got this belt over here, got that belt over there.
I wouldn't say I would say it's political. But and I'm still gonna fight for boxing because I love boxing. Don't get me wrong, I love boxing. But all I'm saying is that when I see fighters who fight this hard to get where they're at, just for them to have their belt stripped for a stupid ass clause, the shit pisses me off.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, what doesn't piss most people off is a tribute to the troops WWE is doing, right?
So the WWE just announced that at their upcoming SmackDown, they're going to have a tribute to the troops, which I think is beautiful. Veterans Day just passed, and there's and during Veterans Day, I realized there's a lot of people who serve the military that are current wrestlers right now. So I think it's pretty awesome that they're doing a 21st annual tribute to the troops. There's people in the WWE fighting at the moment that also love this whole tribute to them, because when you're in the military, you sacrifice a lot of your life for the country. And I think it's good that the WWE recognizes this and celebrates our troops, because I know me personally, I didn't sign up for the military, and I know that you're taking a risk when you sign up for that. You're taking a risk for your mental health, to go to war, all that stuff. So just to be recognized by the WWE, I think it's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when is it happening?
It's not saying. Oh, Friday, December 8th.
Okay, coming up pretty soon.
It's coming up pretty soon. So that'll be the tribute. If you guys like watching SmackDown, Friday, December 8th, they're going to have a tribute to the troops. So I'm going to see exactly what they're doing. I think they should have had it on Veterans Day or the day before, but I mean, yeah. December 8th, right. That's good. Yeah, all right. We got to wrap this show up. I'm sorry it wasn't my cheerful self. I have my voice thing going on. But thank you, everybody who watched the show. It's a short show because I can barely breathe and talk. So that's what's going on with me right now. So I really appreciate y'all for watching. Guys, do you have anything to say? What do I got to talk about?
Let's get out
next
of here.
Week. Oh, I'm going to say one more thing. Next week, we're going to talk about, I keep forgetting this topic, but I want to talk to Guyland about why the Cowboys are still America's favorite team.
Oh, God.
I know, because you saying they're not just really offends me a little bit.
Why? Does it offend you? You're not a Cowboys fan.
Let's talk about it next week.
You need to stop capping for these Cowboys.
Let's talk about it next week.
You need to own your Chicago Bears as your fan. And stop acting like you like the Cowboys,
no, but I'm not,
because you don't want to upset the Cowboy fans. You don't want them in your DMs dogging you. You scared.
That's not even true.
You scared. Yeah, you scared.
That's not
you
even
scared.
True. Look,
whatever, you scared.
I'm just going to cut for the because I feel like the Cowboys.
Because you scared.
No, because the Cowboys actually still are America's team. I didn't say
no, they're not. They suck.
didn't say they're my team. I just said they're America's team.
Nope, not at all. You and Jaden both wrong.
Oh,
and Ramon Mata as well.
Well, he said that. I don't know. Well, we all like I said, I'm tired of you disrespecting Cowboys fans. And so let's talk about how they're still America's football team. We're still gonna talk about it.
Whatever.
Is that crickets? Okay. All right, y'all. See y'all next week.
Is that crickets? Is that what that is?
That's you for saying that they not America's football team, because they still are.
No, they're not.
They are. But let's talk about it.
Whatever.
What is that? Amazon says, do you think it's a grift regarding the WWE tribute?
What was I talking about before?
What is a grift?
What was I talking about before?
What is a grift?
Look it up. We'll talk about it next week.
All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bet.
Bye.